Hi everyone, it's Rachel with Rachel Super Cute Creations. I was going to do this live in my business page, but I was not able to get it to work in the business page, so I thought I'd jump over here and go ahead and do this live quickly for you. So this is a faux watercolor technique. Hi Wendy, welcome. Um, and all you need is some watercolor paper. Aren't these gorgeous? And some Crayola markers. Or if you have dollar store markers, as long as they are water-based markers, you can create these gorgeous backgrounds. Hi Diane, how are you? Welcome. So I'm going to go ahead. As I said, I was going to do this on my actual business page today, but I can't get the live video to work. So you don't need a lot of supplies. If you have some Crayola markers at home, or if you don't, my suggestion would be to go to a dollar store and just get water-based markers. You need a baggie. You're going to need a piece of paper towel. And your paper towel is just going to be to dry your baggie and to wipe your mat. And we're going to get started. So all I'm going to do, kind of pull these out a little bit. Okay. Oh, actually, they're on a little plastic sleeve. Who knew? Okay. So I have my markers here. And I want to do something. Let's do some purple. We're going to do some teal. I'm going to add a little bit of this green. And I'm going to add this dark blue. And it will give me sort of this watercolor look, or water look. Hi, Stephanie, welcome. Okay, here's the fun part, you guys. You just simply scribble on your page. And it doesn't matter how you do that. If you want more of a color than another, you just want to make sure you put more on. I'm going to add a little bit of green because it just kind of reminds me of the sea and the water. So I'm adding a little bit of green in here. And then I'm going to take this purple and I'm just going to do a few little highlights of purple in here. Now, more than likely, I'm going to want some more purple later, and that's okay because I can go back in and I can add some more purple. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my watercolor paper. I'm using 100-pound watercolor paper. This is just a bottle of water, and all I'm going to do is spritz this. And then what I do is I take my hand and I just kind of pat it to make sure that I have water everywhere. And when I do that, you'll start to see, I know you probably can't see it on the camera. You can see it a little bit. See how it kind of gets a little bit darker? Now I'm going to take my bag. I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to kind of stamp it and I'm going to kind of move it around. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this water and I'm going to spritz it again, and I'm going to just carefully go straight down and pull up, straight down and pull up. The reason why is you will start to get a muddy surface if you're not careful. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just wipe off my baggie because I'm going to reuse that. And any of these areas that are kind of puddled, I just take a paper towel and I go straight up and down, okay? Straight up and down, and I kind of pull up those puddles. Just like that. Now, I really want some more blue and purple in here. So I'm going to go back to my baggie. Set this to the side for a minute. And I'm going to bring in some more of that purple. Now, if you have a piece of plastic, I've seen people do this with saran wrap too, and I'm going to show you a different method with the saran wrap. When I do a second stamp, I don't wet the paper. I will now just wet the baggie. And so I get this kind of droplets like this. And now I can kind of place where I want that. And I'm just kind of bringing it in, stamping it. Okay. I'm going to wipe my baggie off. And now we have this gorgeous background. Now you can use watercolor. If you have watercolor, that's, perfectly fine. But for those of you who don't have watercolor, using these cheap markers creates an amazing background. Now, this background, these can be used for covers of your journals if you want. They're heavy enough that if you just put another piece of cardstock on there, you get this gorgeous color. You can use this as pages in your journal. Or I like to cut them up and create little journaling cards, and you can do that as well. We're going to do one more, and then I'm going to show you some lettering techniques. So the next one I want to do is we're going to use some cling wrap, and we're going to do a reverse stamp method. So I'm taking a piece of cling wrap. Boy, I can't say that word tonight. And I'm going to lay it down on my glass mat. If you don't have a glass mat, I would recommend if you have a cutting board or something to lay it down on there. So I'm just laying it down. And what colors would you ladies like to see? I'll let you pick this time. What colors do you want? Anyone have any color ideas? Everybody's being quiet tonight. So here's the colors. What colors would you like to see? Go ahead and scroll down here. Well, since no one is going to tell me, I'm going to add some purple. And I'm putting it right down that saran wrap. I'm going to do a little bit of red. And red's a very dark pigment and color, so if you don't want to see a lot of red, you don't want to put a lot of red on there. I love teal. Oh, Wendy wants blue. All right, Wendy, I'm going to add some blue in here. Look at that. Okay. So I'm going to spray this. And I'm spraying the paper towel, goodness, the saran wrap. And I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to stamp it on there. And I'm going to pull up the saran wrap and flip it over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of wrinkle the saran wrap up. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm kind of wrinkling it up. And then I'm flattening out adding a little more water under here. So I'm going to just really squish that down. And I'm going to pull it up. Now this creates a more blended look. Now I have also seen people who have left that saran wrap on overnight and they get sort of a, I don't know how to explain it, sort of a, like a rippled effect. But that's another way you can do it. I find though that I have way more control over it when I use my Ziploc baggie because it's a smaller workspace and I'm able to kind of maneuver where I want that color to go. But use whatever you want. Okay, I want some more color over here. So I'm just going to bring this over here and I'm going to start stamping away. And just really kind of moving that around. I'm going to grab this, pull up that extra, and you get this gorgeous, gorgeous paper. Hi, Mary, how are you? Welcome. Okay, so we're going to let these dry, but I want to show you some lettering. And I'm going to tell you guys, I am not a master at lettering by any means. So some of you probably have way better lettering techniques than I do. But I do like to sometimes take journaling cards and make some letters. And you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot. I love to do these. If you have a friend, you can do their initial and you can just frame this. This is just a 5x7. It's just kind of a fun way to do things. So I'm going to use this piece right here. And I'm going to create well, I didn't quite get it. Let me get my eraser. I've got to go a little bit smaller. I'm going to write the word journal on here. So this is a cute little card that you could add. So let me try this again. I got a little bit big. Still got a little bit big there, but that's okay. Okay, so this is not perfect, but we're going to go ahead and practice. So I want to show you this simple technique though. Whatever goes up is a thin line. The items that go down are going to be your thicker lines. So any stroke down is going to be thick and any stroke up is going to be thin. So I'm going all the way around. So let's see. So this is going to be thicker. Here's my downstroke. So we know this is going to be thicker. Here's my downstroke here. And then my downstroke here is going to be thicker. And I got way too big for this journaling card, but that's okay. I wanted to just kind of show you. So you would come back in and you're going to thicken your downstroke lines. Okay. So here we're going to go ahead and we're going to thicken this top part. We're going to come down. And then what I like to do is pick one side or the other that I'm going to keep thick. So in this case, I'm going to keep my left side thick. Now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go big on the top, small on the bottom. I'm going to move everything low. So you could create a quick little card that goes in the front. Whoops. And that's not perfect. I would definitely do something a little bit different. So let's try it again. Let's use this one. I'm going to grab my cutter and I'm going to make a 3-inch strip and a 4-inch strip. And then I'm going to cut my little journaling card. Actually, let's take this 3-inch strip and I'm going to make it 5 inches long. And we're going to make a little tag. So all I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut that. I'm going to make a little hole in the top. And look at how pretty that card is. Now, one of the things you can do if you don't have a sewing machine is you can make, oh, that's so weird. This Sharpie was leaking. It just dripped right on my tag. That's weird. Okay, sorry guys. Never had that happen before. Okay, so now you can make faux stitching. And all you need to do is just make little lines all the way around, leaving a little space in between, just like a sewing machine would. And that quick little faux stitching really gives this little card or tag a neat look. When you get to the corner, you're going to just turn it. And you want to try to keep your stitches about the same length. So make your little lines about the same length each time. They don't have to be perfect, but you do want them close as possible. So it will mimic a sewing machine. And there you go. And now I can go on here and I'm going to write the words be kind, okay? And now I'm going to show you how to go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to go just like this. So we're going to go up. Remember, our downward strokes are going to be our thick strokes. So I'm going back over that to make it nice and thick. Now I have an upward stroke, so it's going to be thin, but my downward stroke right here is going to be thick. Have an upward stroke, downward stroke, upward stroke. So my downward stroke is going to be thicker, and I have the word be. Same thing, upward stroke, downward stroke, come back, thicken the downward stroke. Now I have a upward stroke, then I have a downward stroke. So only this part of it is going to be thick. I don't thicken all the way out. So there's my downward stroke again. So that's going to be thick, upward stroke, downward stroke. So I'm coming back, thickening that. Upward stroke, downward stroke. So right here is going to be thicker. Here's my circle. Here's my downward. And then I have a downward stroke here. And I'm just coloring that in. And now I'll come back up to the top. And there is, whoops, there is our quick little tag. So you guys can make these too. It's very simple. I'll do one more time because I know a few of you are just coming in. We'll make one more quick watercolor print. So I'm going to grab this baggie like I had before. This time I'm going to do kind of a black and gray and pink because I have an idea for something like that, and I've never done the black. So we're going to just experiment. So I have this gorgeous gray. So I'm going to add this gray on here. We're going to add the black. And I'm just scribbling that on. And then I want to use this magenta color because I think that's going to be really pretty with the gray and the black. And I want a majority of the magenta. Okay, so I'm going to set that up here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to spritz our watercolor paper with just water. I'm going to smooth it to make sure the water is on everything. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just kind of stick this down, give it a spray. And I'm just going to come up. Now, it did not have as vibrant of colors as I thought it was going to have, which is fine because remember, we can overlay. So I'm going to grab this paper towel. I'm going to pull up these puddles. So I'm just tapping it and pulling up the puddles. We're going to come back in with this. I'm going to add some black. And I'm actually going to just spritz this. We'll layer our black first in spots. So we have that. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to grab a bunch of that magenta. And because I made such a mess, I'm just going to grab a piece of saran wrap as my plastic. And I'm going to put a lot of magenta on here because I really want that color to shine through. So I really want that nice, vibrant color to come through. All right, so you end up with a piece that looks like this. Yeah, it's a really cool technique. I'm going to turn my hair dryer on for a second. It's a cool technique that you can use with not a lot of supplies, and then you can take your hair dryer and you can dry it. Now see where these scribbles were, and I kind of got them on there and it kind of left that marking. We're going to go over that again, and sometimes your scribbling will show up, and that's okay, because what I do is I just go back over and I layer another layer on top. But it's an amazing way to make paper for your journal. It's an easy way to create some embellishments and journaling cards. And it doesn't take a lot of supplies. Okay, so I'm going in the circle motion now with the black. And I'm going to spritz this. And I'm going to make sure that I have it pretty watery so that when I go over these areas, it will kind of cover that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that magenta again. And I'm going to grab a little bit of dark blue just because I think that's going to be pretty on there. And the thing about watercolor paper is you want to use watercolor or mixed media paper. If you use regular paper, you guys, you're going to get kind of a mess. And it got a little muddy, but I'm okay with that. When this dries, it's going to be just fine. And I'm okay with those lines because if I cut this up, you're not going to see that anyway. It's going to look like part of the drawing. But I now know with the black, and like I said, I've never used the black ink before. I now know that you need to make sure that you clear that, that you get that water nice and around in circles. So another thing you can do is even with your journaling cards, you can do that faux stitching, which I know this is not a new technique for you guys, but I did want to just remind you because sometimes we forget to do these techniques. And then I do another sort of artist technique, and it's something that I do on my paintings. And so I wanted to show you that technique too, because it might be something that you haven't done. Those of you who have studied art know that there's this idea or this power of threes. So you're really not supposed to, in art, use even numbers. Although you can. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but those of you that have taken art classes, you know the power of three, the power of thirds, all of that stuff. So one of the things that I like to do, and look at the difference that that does, I like to take and I like to do 3 dots. And I like to do them in a triangle fashion because I think that gives just another cute little element. And so a lot of times I will add this to my backgrounds of my paintings or to my journaling cards. And I'm just using a Sharpie marker. You can use a white gel pen if you have one. But you want to make sure that you're keeping those power of threes. Now, if you want to do regular polka dots, go ahead. But this is just something that I do, and it gives a different look. It's kind of unique to my art, but you are absolutely welcome to use the same concept if you want something a little bit different. And it brings a little bit of a mixed media element to your journaling card. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't want them to line up. You want them to be kind of random. But you get, isn't that adorable? And I didn't use any scrapbook paper. I didn't use anything other than a marker and some cheap markers, and I ended up with this cute little card. So just another quick technique. It gives you just a different look. You can see here, all I did is use the power of threes. So I did it again, but I just used a white paint marker. Another technique you can use, and I cannot for the life of me, and I'm mad, cannot find my white gel pen, which I always oh, here it is. I lied. So then you can also take your white gel pen and you can just outline your downward marks. So sometimes I'll just come in and I'll just outline my downward marks to give it a little bit of a highlight. Another just quick technique. If you have a white pen, just to give it a little bit of dimension. So another quick way to kind of give it some dimension and a little bit of look. And then you can come in here and you can add those three dots like I showed you. So I like to come in and I add three dots a lot of times on my artwork. And I just think it gives it just a different look. And it's not difficult. And you end up with something that looks very artistic. You can use. It doesn't take a lot. You don't need a lot of supplies. Isn't that pretty? Oh, Kim, yes, you can absolutely rewatch. I will post this and you'll be able to rewatch it so you don't have to worry about it. And then I could take my white pen and I could do that same technique that I showed you before where I do the three dots. And instead of the black look, we get this real subtle light look in the background. See that? And so I like to do that. So those are a couple of techniques you can try. I challenge you to try those in your journaling or try those as you're doing your embellishments. And if you don't like this look, that's fine. But at least try to use the black and the white to highlight because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And if you like a more vintage look, I a lot of times will just take on my embellishments and I will just do three dots in a row, just like this, like I did on here. And I will use that on every type, but I'm always using three dots somewhere just to kind of give it a different look. Questions about anything that I showed you today? You like it, Kim? Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. I don't know. Anybody else use this in their journals? It's not a like super difficult technique and it's not something I like need to patent or anything. It's just something that I use and I just think it gives it a little bit of definition, texture. It's pretty. Does not take a ton of effort. I don't need a lot of supplies. And it's fun to just play around and do. So that's what we end up with. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I need some right here. And this would be so cute if you just framed it and that was it. Wouldn't that be a great gift? And, you know, I can just come over here with my white pen and I just signed it right over here. But wouldn't that be a neat gift for someone? And you could just go to the dollar store and you could get just a frame to put that in, and it would be so cute. You've done that in your scrapbooking? Yeah, it's just really easy. And a lot of your scrapbooking techniques, you guys, use it in your journaling as well. There's no reason for you not to. All right. So that's pretty much all I have. Hopefully everybody is having a great day today. Hopefully you've been with your mentors and you've been working on what those projects are going to be. Um, I know that my mentor group, they've already decided what their goal is going to be, and we're already working on that. So I just finished my cover today. And so the other thing is each course has a different way that they're using their communication with you. So just follow up with your mentor, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I hope everybody your jump tutorial, and I hope you give this tutorial a try. So have a great day, everybody. Bye now.